Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom in Ghana, there lived a wise old man known throughout the land for his wisdom and kindness. He had spent his life traveling far and wide, learning the secrets of nature, the stories of the ancestors, and the ways of the world. People from all corners of the kingdom sought his counsel, and even the king himself often turned to him for advice. In the royal palace, there was a young princess who was the apple of the king's eye. The princess was known for her beauty, but she was also very curious and intelligent. However, she was somewhat headstrong, believing that her royal status and youthful energy made her capable of solving any problem that came her way. She often dismissed the advice of her elders, thinking she could figure things out on her own. One day, a mysterious and grave problem arose in the kingdom. The great river that flowed through the land, bringing life to the fields and joy to the people, suddenly began to dry up. Without the river, the crops withered, the animals grew weak, and the people began to despair. The king was deeply troubled and called upon his advisors to find a solution, but none could determine the cause of the river's disappearance. In his desperation, the king called upon the wise old man, hoping that his vast knowledge and experience might uncover the mystery and save the kingdom. The old man agreed to help and set out to investigate the matter. The young princess, eager to prove herself, insisted on accompanying the old man. She was certain that she could find the answer faster than anyone else. The king was hesitant, but the old man, seeing the determination in the princess's eyes, agreed to take her along, knowing that this journey would teach her valuable lessons. The wise old man and the young princess traveled together, following the river's dry bed upstream. Along the way, they encountered many challenges. They crossed barren lands, navigated treacherous terrain, and faced wild animals. The princess, though brave and determined, soon realized that her knowledge was limited compared to the old man's wisdom. He knew how to find water in the desert, how to calm wild beasts with a soft word, and how to read the signs of nature to guide their path. Despite her earlier confidence, the princess began to feel a deep respect for the old man. She observed how he carefully considered every step they took, how he listened to the whispers of the wind, and how he treated every living thing with kindness and respect. She started to ask questions, eager to learn from him, and the old man, pleased with her humility, began to share his knowledge. After many days of travel, they finally reached the source of the river. To their astonishment, they found that a massive boulder had fallen from a nearby mountain, blocking the river's flow. The once gushing waters were now trapped behind the stone, causing the land below to dry up. The princess, determined to solve the problem, tried with all her might to move the boulder, but it was far too heavy. She used all the strength she had, but the stone wouldn't budge. Frustrated and exhausted, she turned to the old man for help. The old man, with a knowing smile, asked the princess to step back and watch. He then sat down by the boulder, closed his eyes, and began to hum a soft, melodic tune. The princess watched in amazement as the birds and animals of the forest gathered around him, drawn by the music. The wise old man then asked the creatures to help move the boulder. To the princess's astonishment, the animals, big and small, walked together under the old man's guidance. The elephants pushed with their might, the beavers gnawed at the base of the boulder, and even the ants carried away the smallest stones. Slowly but surely, the boulder began to move. Finally, with a great heave, the boulder rolled aside, and the river burst forth, rushing down the mountainside with a roar. The land below sprang back to life as the water flowed once more. The crops revived, the animals drank their fill, and the people rejoiced. The princess, overwhelmed with gratitude, turned to the wise old man. "How did you do it?" she asked, her voice filled with awe. "I tried with all my strength, but I couldn't move the boulder. Yet you did it with a simple song." The old man smiled gently and replied, "My dear princess, strength alone is not always the answer. Wisdom, patience, and understanding the world around us are just as important. By respecting the creatures of the forest and asking for their help, we were able to achieve what brute force could not. The princess nodded, finally understanding the lesson. She had learned that true wisdom comes from knowing when to ask for help, when to listen, and when to let nature take its course. She had also learned to value the wisdom of her elders, realizing that there was so much more to the world than she had ever imagined. When they returned to the kingdom, the people celebrated the return of the river and praised the wise old man and the young princess for their bravery and wisdom. The king, too, was filled with pride and gratitude. He knew that his daughter had grown wiser through her journey, and he welcomed the old man's counsel with even greater respect. From that day on, the princess became a beloved ruler in her own right. She often sought the advice of the wise old man, and together they ruled the kingdom with wisdom and compassion. The river continued to flow, bringing life and prosperity to the land, and the story of the wise old man and the young princess was told for generations to come, reminding everyone that true strength lies in wisdom, patience, and a deep understanding of the world around us.